Hi, third grade. A bonus chapter. Chapter 15. Lie detector. No, 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 Amon said in frustration. That won't work. There are only 4 gates into the courtyard, 1 on each side. Benjamin looked as if Amon had slapped him. I'm only trying to help you, he said. Amon's face softened. Forgive me, my friend. I'm very worried. We're running out of time. Benjamin knuckled his friend in the shoulder to let him know that all was forgiven, and the 2 boys and Tamar turned back to the parchment. They were once again at the table in the middle room, trying to figure out how to see if the guards in the treasury had lied. Amon's mother had grown weary of waiting for something to happen and had gone to see Caiaphas to beg for her husband's life. She left Amon in charge of his 2 brothers who were playing downstairs. The night before, after leaving Antonia, Amon had shared with his friends the conversation he had with Cornelius. How strange, Tamar said. You met 2 kind and helpful Romans in one day, both believers in God. And one, she added, with a jab to Amon's ribs, a follower of Jesus. I always knew the Romans didn't have any sense, Amon said, and there was a bite to his words. But then he immediately apologized. I am sorry, Tamar. I do not believe in this Jesus of yours, but you and the centurion have been very kind to me. Perhaps I need a lesson in that. After that, the 3 friends determined that they couldn't count on Cornelius being able to convince Pontius Pilate to intervene, and that they needed to continue their investigation. So after morning chores, they were once again studying their charts. There were always 4 guards in the treasury, he continued, 1 at each gate. Then there was the captain and 2 more guards on top of the wall. He sat back and sighed. It seems impossible that all of them would fall asleep or not notice someone entering the courtyard. So it's more likely that they're lying, Tamar observed, to cover up for someone else who entered the treasury. Amon nodded, but how do we get them to confess? Why would they tell me the truth and get themselves into trouble? The 3 friends sat thinking about this for a long while. Presently, there was a loud crash from the lower room, and Amon suddenly remembered the brothers he was supposed to be watching. Running down the stairs, he saw Yuri and Jaden standing over a broken pot of flour. What happened here? He said to the 2 younger brothers as he approached them. Yuri was playing princes and thieves and knocked the pot off the table, Jaden said. I did not, Yuri cried. It was Jaden. It takes 2 to play princes and thieves, Amon said to Jaden. Which one were you? Jaden clamped his lips shut, but opened them again long enough to say, I was neither. I wasn't playing. It was Yuri. Then Amon saw flour down the side of Jaden's tunic, and knew his brother was lying. He grabbed his brother by both shoulders, turned him into the light streaming through the glass windows. Look me in the eye, he said to Jaden, and tell me you didn't break the urn. Jaden looked away for a moment, then looked Amon directly in the eye and said, I did not break the urn. It was Yuri. Amon's own anger was rising now because he knew his brother was lying but couldn't prove it. He started to ask Jaden again, then stopped, his mouth hanging open in mid-word. He stared at Jaden's eyes, and he saw something very strange. The middle parts, the black circles, were getting bigger. But that doesn't make sense, Amon thought. He had turned his brother into the light so he could better see his face. And everyone knows when you look into bright light, the middle parts of your eyes get smaller. But Jaden's were getting bigger. After a few moments, Jaden's eyes returned to normal. Watching them closely now, Amon asked the question again. Jaden, tell me the truth. Did you break the urn of flour? And again Jaden said, no, I did not. And again the middle parts of his eyes grew big. Amon looked away for several moments to think. Could it be that someone's eyes would reveal whether or not they're telling the truth? When he turned back, Jaden's eyes were once more back to normal. More concerned now with testing his theory than with finding the cause of the flour incident, Amon lowered his voice and tried to sound like his father. Jaden, he said, a man has very little he can call his own, only his faith, his love, and his honor. If you throw away one of these, you will never be a man in God's sight. A man will always admit his mistakes and confess his sins, and not try to hide behind lies. He leaned closer to his brother now and said in almost a whisper, Jaden, an urn of flour is not worth throwing away your honor. Did you break the urn? Jaden's chin started to tremble and tears filled his eyes. Finally, he nodded ever so slightly and squeaked out, Yes, it was I. Amon watched Jaden's eyes closely, but the middle parts did not change. He almost whooped with joy at his discovery, but knew he must take care of business at hand first. Pulling his weeping brother into his arms, he said, Very well then. Clean up the mess, and we shall talk with Mother about what your punishment will be for playing in the house when you were told not to. Amon pushed his brother back, looked at him in the eye again, and added, But I will tell her of your honesty. Jaden half smiled through the tears, then grabbed the broom to start cleaning up the mess. Tamar and Benjamin had watched the whole thing from the steps, and now Amon practically shoved them back up. I have it, he said. I have it. Have what? Benjamin said. Amon did not answer, but instead he grabbed his friend by the shoulders and stared him in the eyes. Lie to me, he said. Is your name Benjamin of Ephraim? Yes, of course. No, lie to me. Is your name Benjamin of Ephraim? Benjamin looked as lost as the day Amon had taught him how to play King's Ransom. But this time he answered, No, my name is Moses. Amon watched carefully. Then he danced with glee. It worked, it worked, it worked, he shouted. What worked? Tamar said, containing herself no longer. Again, he didn't answer. But this time he took Tamar by the shoulders and stared at her eyes. Tell me the truth, he said. Is your father's name Bartholomew? Tamar looked bewildered, but said, Yes. Amon nodded. Now lie to me. To what people do you belong? Tamar shrugged and said, I'm a citizen of Rome. Once again, Amon started leaping for joy, such that Jaden called up the stairs and asked what was going on. To Tamar and Benjamin, Amon explained, So when someone is lying, he concluded, the black circles in the middle of their eyes get bigger, even in daylight. Benjamin frowned in skepticism, but Tamar was anxious to try it. Tell me the truth. Is your name Amon of Hebron? She asked. Amon said it was, and Tamar reported that his eyes remained the same. Now lie to me. What is your position among men? Amon said that he was the governor of Judea. It worked! Tamar said. Then with the smile almost hidden from view, she stared into Amon's eyes and said, Tell me the truth one more time. Do you like me? Amon blinked several times in surprise. What? He stammered. Do you like me? Tamar repeated. Well, yes, Amon said, of course. Tamar stared at Amon's eyes a moment longer and then said, Good, and with a grin sat back down at the table. That was not fair, Amon scolded. Tamar laughed. Perhaps not, but now I know. Amon sulked for a moment. Then a smile broke out on his face. So my eyes did not change when I answered that question? He asked. Tamar shook her head. Good, Amon said with a grin, because I wasn't sure if I liked you or not. Now I guess I must. Amon laughed and threw a bedroll at Tamar, and she threw a parchment at him, and the two were just in a throwing match that threatened to knock the house down. Surprising, it was Benjamin who brought them back to serious work. Amon, he shouted, we must save your father. Amon stopped playing with Tamar, though a few laughs were still finding their way out of his belly. I have already thought of that, he said, my friend, and now how will we do it? Benjamin asked, How shall we do it? And then Amon told Benjamin, and Benjamin's mouth dropped open, and he wished he hadn't asked. Here's the after part. As a shepherd looks after his scattered flock when he is with them, so will I look after my sheep. I will rescue them from all the places where they are scattered on a day of clouds and darkness. Ezekiel chapter 34 and verse 12. Amon wishes he could know what will happen in his future. He'd like to just relax and know that everything will turn out okay. Strangely enough, he can. He just doesn't understand that yet. Have you ever felt afraid about the future? Have you ever wished that you could know what will happen? Strangely enough, you can. You can know without a doubt that whatever happens, God will be in control if you'll allow him to be. You can know that he will gather you like a shepherd gathers sheep and care for you as one of his own. You can know that he will take care of you no matter what's happening in the world around you. It doesn't mean bad things won't happen. It just means that if you put your hope in the Lord, he will watch over you no matter what. That's a great word, isn't it? Have a great weekend, guys. Bye.